What makes one basketball player stand out more than another? I get asked this question all the time, and today I have some answers. Of course, these are from my own experiences and what I have noticed over my time playing and watching basketball. My goal for this video was to come up with some unique ways you can stand out that might not be so obvious for all hoopers. I've decided to change it up a little bit and rank these from least to most important in terms of standing out, although of course they can all be beneficial in their own ways. There are many ways to show confidence and leadership on the court. Two important traits to have if you want to separate yourself from your peers. How you interact with your coaches, your teammates, and even the refs can really show your understanding for the game is at another level. I always hear basketball coaches say they want their players to be the coach on the floor. A great way to be that person is to be in consistent conversation with your coach as a game goes on. During a free throw, going up to your coach to ask them a question or point something out, respectfully of course, shows everyone in the gym that you are seeing the game at a deep level. In high school and college, I would do this out of habit. Even something as simple as going up to your coach and asking them what play they want you to run next on offense can make it clear you are a leader on the floor. Similarly, the way you interact with your teammates throughout a game can really amplify your leadership qualities. Whether you are encouraging them or offering constructive feedback on something, or simply acknowledging them when they make a good play. When I watch games and I see a player that is in constant communication with their teammates, they immediately catch my eye. It is something I try and do as much as possible, even now playing professionally. And I think another underrated way to stand out in basketball is to actually talk to refs. I'm not gonna lie, you definitely have to be careful with this one because you don't want everybody to see you as a complainer, but that's not what you're gonna be doing. Instead, I actually think interacting with refs shows a high-level player who radiates confidence. If you can show that the refs respect you by giving you the time of day, it stands out. In high school, I would even go up to them and just ask them a simple question like, are you reffing any other local games this week? Or have you given out any technical fouls recently? Again, it doesn't have to be anything too specific. It's all about how you appear from an onlooker's perspective. I remember I was watching some YouTube highlight video years ago, and this one clip stuck with me where Nico Mannion, who actually I think plays in Europe now, took a hard foul and got right up off the floor. He wasn't dramatic about it, he just got right back up. In general, I think because in today's game there's so much flopping and dramatization in basketball, people who don't do any of that can actually stand out. Now I do realize that some of the best basketball players in the world use flopping to their advantage. I'm looking at you, Joel. But getting right up off the floor after a hard foul shows toughness. If I'm not actually injured, I try and get up off the floor as quickly as possible. Then I hustle back on defense and just make the next play. This might not be something you've thought about, but it can stand out. Cheating on defense can make you look like a high-level player in a few ways. One, it shows you have a high IQ because you're able to read the offense ahead of time. Especially in high school, there are just so many lazy passes that are thrown throughout the course of a game. I really wish I could go back. I feel like I would rack up the steals. Also, as a game goes on, you can start to figure out what plays the offense is running, and that's really where you can cheat for steals. Maybe you know a post-up play is coming and you cheat baseline side and knock it out of the big's hand for a steal. Yes, sometimes you will get burned, as I have at times, but it's worth it to get easy steals more often than not. Also, getting in passing lanes will just get you easy buckets. If you're an athletic player, the best place to show off your athleticism is on a fast break. Shoot the gap on a pass and you might have an easy run out to show what you can do in transition. Either way, you're getting an easy basket. Cheating on defense shows awareness and IQ, and it allows you to help your team by getting extra possessions and easy buckets. It helped me get over 2 steals a game in college, so try it because I wish I did it more in high school. So I've talked a lot on this channel about how you shouldn't label yourself a certain position. Instead, you should be getting better at all skills no matter how tall you are. I want to further that point by saying that shorter players who do things on the court that are conventionally done by taller players will automatically stand out. And the same is true for taller players replicating what shorter players normally do. For instance, if you're a smaller player, but you learn how to score in the post against other smaller players, you will automatically look different from the average high school player. Jalen Brunson has been killing in the NBA using his footwork to score on post-ups against guards who don't normally have to match up in the post. A lot of times he even makes bigs look silly down there. Along those same lines, smaller players who fly in and get offensive rebounds don't look normal. The same can be said for taller players who can shoot and make threes, get rebounds and dribble up the court, stay in front of guards on defense, shoot floaters. All these skills that are commonly associated with smaller players can also be done by taller players. Having a skill set that pushes the boundaries of what you are supposed to be doing on the court is a surefire way to catch the attention of anybody watching you. And don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone in your workouts so you can acquire these skills. Let's get a really simple yet incredibly important one out of the way. A great way to stand out is to do all the little things as much of the time as possible. I don't know if it's laziness or maybe lack of attention to detail, But when I watch high school basketball, the little things are just not taken seriously by most players. A big one for me, especially because it's so important at the next level of basketball, is boxing out. Recently, I was watching some high school highlights from a really high level high school basketball game at the Hoop Hall in Massachusetts. One thing I noticed immediately was the difference between the players that box out and the ones who don't. I think because I know how important it is in college and professionally, I am conditioned to notice when players don't box out. But please do, especially because most high school players don't. Some other little things you can always be doing: diving for loose balls, taking charges, getting offensive rebounds, getting deflections on defense. Basically all the hustle plays that don't really take skill, they just take effort. These are things that are always in your control and most kids aren't doing, so why wouldn't you try and do them on every single possession? I'm sure you've seen that viral video of the 3rd grade team that was taunting their opponents in the middle of a game. And yes, I too was mostly aggravated to see that kind of behavior, even though I think it's mostly harmless. However, I will say that sometimes showing emotion can actually be a really good thing. I'll be honest with you guys, when I or one of my teammates makes a good play, I like to celebrate. When I hit a big 3, I'm usually throwing 3 fingers up as I run back down the court on defense. And sometimes when I get an and one, I'll flex a little bit. And especially when one of my teammates does something really well on the court, I like to show emotion for their success. My point is, I don't think you should be a robot on the court. Bringing some emotion to basketball shows a few things. It shows how much you care about winning. It shows you bring energy when you play. It shows you have joy for the game and for your teammates' success. Also, and I know this is something a lot of kids struggle with, it shows you have confidence in yourself. Now for me, these are all things I would want in a player on my team. Don't be like those 3rd graders and make it a big show or all about you. But also don't be afraid to let your passion and intensity come to the forefront when you play. After all, it is just basketball. Have some fun. There's a simple way to make yourself known to everyone in the gym, regardless of your skill level. If you are the loudest player on the court, you will automatically stand out. Think about it. By being the loudest talker, you are literally drawing attention away from other players and to yourself. And for good reason. Talking, especially on defense, is an incredibly important skill that all coaches want their players to do more of. Being the loudest talker shows you have confidence in your voice on the court, that you have a high IQ because you know what to say in certain defensive situations, and that you truly care about the team's success because you're trying to help everyone out on the court all the time. I'm telling you, even when I'm playing, I always tend to notice the guys that are talkers and the guys who aren't. As you get to the higher levels, the guys who don't talk tend to stand out even more because it's just less common. However, in high school, talking, especially on defense, is something that most players just don't do. So it is even more of a reason to consciously communicate at a high level in every game. Also, nonverbal communication is important as well. Pointing, waving, clapping your hands, giving high fives to your teammates are all aspects of nonverbal communication that stand out and that you can become better at. I'm telling you, go into your next game and just talk non-stop on defense for 1 possession. Then try and do it throughout an entire half or even an entire game. You'll quickly realize that you're probably the only one doing it. Simply put, the ability to shoot the ball, especially behind the arc, is the most critical skill for advancing in basketball. Of course, you can play high-level basketball without being able to shoot, but being a reliable 3-point shooter will significantly elevate your game. My own basketball journey is a testament to this. I was a well-rounded high school player, but the primary reason I got recruited to play in college was because of my 3-point shot. Interestingly, at the college and professional levels, there are players who are elite shooters while being average in other areas. This rarity of elite, consistent shooting makes that skill incredibly valuable. And if there's one skill I will always tell younger players to spend the most time on in their training, it's shooting. For more skilled shooters, a way to separate yourself even more is to take and make deep threes. Not only will this prepare you for the further distances in college and professional play, but also the further out you can shoot, the harder it is for teams to defend you. So whether you're tall or short, if your aspiration is to play at a high level, consistently training your shot is really non-negotiable. Being an elite shooter will expand your offensive game and make you an invaluable asset to any team. I want to reiterate to you that this is not a science. Obviously, to stand out and make it to the next level, you have to be a really good basketball player. However, I'm hoping you can take something from this video to separate yourself from other players who aren't as focused as you may be at getting to that next level. And if you want to learn more about how important your mentality is to success in basketball, check out this video on the uncomfortable truth for young basketball players. As always, I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.